Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. This one will be sort of the news about the, Richmond's new leadership group. A new face and very familiar faces. So I thought we'll break them down, have a little conversation about it. Richmond itself has put up a little post on their not their Facebook page, their actual page on the Richmond website, and sort of breaks down and gives you a bit of information about the players. So we'll just go through the list, as we now know that Toby Nankervis will be the captain for 2026. Vice captain will be Tim Taranto, and then the leadership group will have Tom Lynch, Jane Short, Nathan Broad, and Jack Ross. So Jack Ross is the only new one compared to 2025 group. Do like the idea of that, but what we'll do is we'll go down one player at a time, and I'll sort of give my view and opinions and thoughts on why I think it's good. I don't think Richmond did a single thing wrong with picking these players. I think they've sort of gone for positional. As you think about it, they've gone in the middle, three mids, one ruck, two mids, a back line and a forward line, and two back lines actually. So I sort of like the idea. They've sort of spread it around the ground. So we know Nankervis will now be the captain. He was co-captain originally, picked in 2022 along with Dylan Grimes. He's played 81 games as captain, which sits him equal 10th position for games captain, behind Waitman for the most games. Yeah, and then will be hitting towards 100. So he'll probably we're confident he'll get to 100. I think he'll play more than 19 games. I think he'll play nearly the whole season for sure. But we'll definitely see that. I think it's probably a good one to allow Nate to stay captain just one more year. I think next year we'll then see Taranto take over. Sort of gives Taranto another chance to get to know these young players, also develop and learn off Toby Nankervis. I think Nankervis is going to be pushing for maybe his second last year this year. Gives him a chance to sort of represent the club, and I think for him to hit 100 games captain, it'd be a pretty big honour for him, considering, you think about when we first got him, he was pretty much a back at ruckman for Sydney and missed out on the grand final, to now being a three-time premiership player and now pushing towards 100 games captain for such a big club, Richmond. He's also involved himself since he's become captain. As we know, Nank used to be a bit rough and tough and very angry. I think he's sort of tempered that down and sort of found the niche to what he has to be to still be that rough player, but also be a good leader. And I think he deserves the chance to see the boys climb up the ladder a bit. I know this year, I'm not saying we're going to do a big jump, but I think by the end of his time, he would at least like to see the sort of upwards trajectory of the club. And in the end of the day, he can turn and say, I was there from when we were at the bottom, and then I left as we were sort of making our way up, and I sort of helped build the foundation. So I do love that. I do love that we went with Tim Taranto as the vice captain, that midfielder / now probably going to be doing a bit more half forward. I think it gives him a chance to sort of learn off Nankervis and develop his leadership skills really well. Sorry about that, guys. But he's sort of that, what did I say? Is that very high IQ midfielder. And his work rate is really high. You can sort of see off some of the footage in 2025 where he was mic'd up, some of the training ones as well, and also probably I'd say some of the videos he's done with the AFL and Richmond, sort of answering questions and what he sees himself going into 2026, what he wants to improve. It's always good to hear from your leader that they need to improve. He did say he wants to work on his kicking and his delivery, his marking, so he's sort of all around. So I think it's a really good thing to, as young players, to sort of learn off, hey, even if our vice captain or captain, he still believes he needs to improve, so do we. So really good on that. I think next year we will see Tim Taranto as captain. Then we go, who was the next one after that? Then it will be Tom Lynch. I do like that as that forward mentor for the Jonty, Harry Armstrong, Tom Sims, Liam Fawcett, McCarthy the Foul. I think you sort of do need that if you go back to Richmond's premiership era. A lot of the time we had Alex Rance as vice, Jack Rebold as vice, and we had Trent as the captain. So you sort of had that back line leader, the forward leader, and the midfield leader. And I like that we're still sticking to it. I think you sort of do need that. Tom Lynch sort of needs to pass on all the wisdom he can whilst he's still playing onto these young forwards while they're at that fresh point of really wanting to know and learn. And also probably the same thing with Nate. Sort of, he can teach them now. And probably sort of teach them what he didn't get taught. If you guys do remember, I can't remember when it was, an interview, but Tom Lynch sort of said when he came into Richmond, he never really had a mentor when he was at Gold Coast. So he was sort of behind on a lot of things because he didn't have that veteran forward already at the club to learn off. Alex Rance even did mention it when he came in. He said he was quite far behind on the skills and some certain schemes and sort of stuff in the AFL system he should know, which was a credit to Tom Lynch of being how good he was. But he got that when he was with Jack Rebold. So Jack sort of got to teach him the niche of the craft of sort of things he's learned from his mentor, which Jack learned off Richo. So sort of passing the knowledge on. So hopefully, with him being the leader for the full forwards, he can sort of teach what he's learned from Jack and what Jack got off Richo and pass that along to the next generation. Jaden Short, I think we all could kind of see Jaden Short is a leader, just maybe not by the on-field sort of stuff. I think the energy that he brings into training, you see a lot of the training videos where the voice is up, the attention to detail is always there. He also tells the boys to make sure that they need to get him in line and make sure he's doing the right thing and calling him out. So I sort of think that brings the hype on the training track, which I think you always need that bit of a hype man to sort of get you guys going when you're having a bit of a flat day. So I think that's a really good one to have, and not afraid to voice his opinion. So that's another good one. Nathan Broad, I think that was a really good idea. I think we've all seen Broad's IQ coming into it. So to me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. We know it's his last year as well, so it gives him one last chance to sort of pass what he can on to all the backs before he hangs the boots up in 2026. And Jack Ross, which I think we all sort of saw that coming from pretty much the start of this year. You could sort of see how much more content he was doing with the AFL, well, with Richmond and the AFL. Training reports were coming out saying he was sort of stepping up. Comments coming from other players are saying the best trainer on the day has been Jack Ross multiple times, which is obviously him sort of trying to say, set the standard, this is how you do it, boys, and follow me. Really do like that. Sort of wouldn't be surprised in maybe a year or two where you see him as a vice-captain. I think he's got that mentality as well. And I think maybe now we sort of know what Jack Ross is going to be, and so does he. So really happy with the team. Sort of one thing I will say before I go is really happy they didn't do that whole dual captains or dual vice captains. I like the one captain, one vice captain, because you would have to really do hope that you see Nank and Taranto, at least one of them always out on the ground leading the club. So, all right, guys, that's it for the sort of bit of my personal opinion on the leadership group. I think it's probably the Richmond's probably nailed on the nail in the coffin. It's probably the perfect team to pick. I know it was also voted by the players as well, so that also probably gives them a bit more credit, considering it's mostly coming from the players. So the players are sort of voting who we sort of see who sets the standard. So that's it, guys, for the episode. If you could hit the like and subscribe button. The one goal is, once I get to 500 subscribers, I would like to release some merchandise and do a giveaway. The idea is I'm probably looking towards, nothing's 100% set in stone, but looking towards doing flannelette shirts and doing a giveaway. So I'm just going to pick the name out of the hat out of the subscribers. You must be a subscriber. I'll just do a little video to sort of explain how to get it, and then I'll reach out to that person and sort of get their contact details and ship them something. But I'll let that out soon. I'll get probably some demo stuff and show you guys what it looks like and see what you guys think. So, all right, that's it, guys. As always, go to my Tigers, and looking forward to Friday. I think it's Friday 10:30, Richmond versus Essendon. Go to my Tigers.